UN human rights report released Thursday says Russia's invasion of Ukraine has caused a dire human rights situation in the country and documented a wide range of rights violations, including extrajudicial killings and torture they say could amount to war crimes. The report, sponsored by the UN Office of the High Commissioner for UN Human Rights and conducted by the UN Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, documents for the first 6 months of Russia's invasion of Ukraine from February through July.
6 months reporting period, we documented 407 cases, which included 359 men, 47 women and 1 boy, of enforced disappearances and the arbitrary detention of civilians in territory controlled by Russian armed forces or affiliated armed groups. 18 of the victims, 1 woman and 17 men, were eventually found dead. Most of the victims were active or former public officials of local authorities, human rights defenders, civil society activists, journalists and media workers. Many relatives of these civilians have no information about the fate and whereabouts of their loved ones detained during the first months of the armed attack.
The UN Human Rights Office said it has documented violations by both sides of human rights laws, by both sides of human rights laws and international law on the treatment of prisoners of war and non-combatants. Both sides have denied committing violations. The UN Human Rights Office Tuesday also criticized Iranian authorities for using what they called disproportionate use of force against protesters following the death of a 22-year-old Iranian Kurdish woman detained by the nation's so-called morality police. Riot police and security forces clashed again Tuesday with protesters in several Iranian cities amid demonstrations that began September 17th, protesting the death of 20-year-old Mahsa Amini while being held by the country's morality police for allegedly failing to properly wear a hijab. Speaking at a news conference in Geneva Tuesday, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights spokesperson Ravini Shamdasani said the office was very concerned by the continued violent response of Iranian security forces.
We are extremely concerned by comments by some leaders vilifying protesters and by the apparent unnecessary and disproportionate use of force against protesters. Thousands have joined anti-government demonstrations throughout the country over the past 11 days. Security forces have responded at times with live ammunition. Firearms must never be used simply to disperse an assembly. In the context of assemblies, they should only be used in case of an imminent threat to life or of serious injury.
Iranian officials have said 41 people have died since the protests began, while human rights groups say that the toll is much higher. Hurricane Ian has made landfall over western Cuba just hours after evolving into a major hurricane. Forecasters at the Miami-based U.S. National Hurricane Center say Ian is carrying a maximum sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour, making it a Category 3 storm on the center's 5-level scale that measures the storm's maximum sustained wind speed and destructive potential. The storm is just 10 kilometers south of the Cuban province of Pinar del Rio, traveling at a speed of 19 kilometers an hour. Officials in the province have evacuated tens of thousands of residents ahead of Ian's arrival and took steps to protect its vital tobacco crops and related infrastructure. The NHC says Ian will remain a major hurricane as it travels north over the Gulf of Mexico and is expected to reach the western Gulf Coast of the southern U.S. state of Florida as early as Wednesday. The British government Tuesday has revealed King Charles III's new monogram as the official period of mourning for his mother, Queen Elizabeth, came to a close. The emblem, known as the King's Cipher, will appear on government buildings, state documents, and some post boxes in the coming months. It features the initial C intertwined with letter R for Rex, the Latin word for king. Repeating the hour's top news story, the UN Human Rights Report released Thursday shows Russia's invasion of Ukraine has caused a dire human rights situation in the country, documenting a wide range of human rights violations they say could amount to war crimes.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.